Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Today, I'm going to talk about the real players. Yeah, I was thinking about it, and especially after, you know, some recent exchanges with folks in like comments on different videos. I really want to tell y'all who the real players are. See, one thing when I talk about when we've been having these conversations about um, so-called educated lames, thugs, bums, and all of that, um, I've been talking in very general terms. But if you really want to understand who the real players are, it goes against the image many men have. And to be honest, I'm surprised more men don't pick up on this. I'm not sure why. I don't know, but I can only speculate. I have an idea, but I'll keep it to myself until I can research it further. Anyway, the real players. See, one of the problems out here is that many men they caught up into that alpha male, beta male paradigm, or even not having a full understanding of the select non-select thing because they confuse the two. And then part of that is on me as well because I tend to be very general. It's hard to get into nuances. I mean, it's easier if I'm, in a barbershop or something or in a long conversation talking about nuances, but in a 15, 20-minute video or even in my book, the best way to approach it is to stay very general. But the reality is, the men who everybody else is thinking getting all the pussy and being the big players and stuff are not the real players. Now, let's not get it twisted. If a man is a master of the universe type, he's making all this money. Yes, he's getting some attention, but his tendency will be to get a very attractive woman and chill with her and at most have maybe a side piece. At most. He's not going to have a lot of women. For the simple matter is, if you're a man and you making that threshold of six figures or even seven figures, you have to work for it. You have to work, and you typically are not working a regular 9 to 5 job, but 12-hour days. You working long hours. I don't care if you working for, unless you're a retired investor or you have a trust fund. No, you working for it. Basically, you don't have time for all of that. You have time for maybe they have time for maybe their main woman and maybe their side piece if the side piece is good with like once every 3 weeks or something. So when most money men are not, let me repeat, are not going to be like real players. They're not going to have multiple women. That's just not going to happen. They don't have time. Anybody who's entrepreneurial or is trying to build a business or have maybe two jobs, they understand what I'm talking about. You don't have time for it. If you good if you can find that one woman who is going to have sex with you and she's not going to be too much of a problem of you having sex with her, you're good to go with her. So it's not the money men really. Believe it or not, it's not those pretty boys or extremely good looking men. The reality is the average woman is intimidated by that type of man. Yeah, yeah, they idolize him. They think he's good looking. They'll talk about how good looking he is. But half the time, first of all, she's going to be too insecure to actually get with him. She might freeze or something. And to be honest, a lot of times those guys ain't going to go for average women. That average woman would have to make herself extremely available, and you know, the, the good look. If the guy good looking, he want a good looking woman. Now, this is not to say you still got some in there who might have multiple women, but nah, nah. For the most part, these guys actually, for the most part, a lot of these guys are actually more monogamous than the average. Believe it or not, because so many women are intimidated by their looks. Because understand one thing: most women do not want to be with a man who looks better than they do. Always remember that. Always remember that game. Women do not want, most women don't want to be with a man that looks better than they do, unless somehow being with that better looking man validates them. Like if you get a real ugly woman, she can get a really good looking guy, and I think I've seen it once or twice in my life. Um, yeah, that might validate her a little bit, but most people gonna think he's just hitting it anyway and nothing else. And then the thug thing. The thug thing is really overrated. Yeah, I'll say, I'll talk about thugs and all of that. That's because people understand it. I don't have to explain the nuance. But really, there's a whole lot of thugs out there who aren't getting it like that. You get a few, but just because they sell drugs or engage in criminal activity don't mean some woman's fucking them. In fact, I remember I almost got in a fight with some thugs because they weren't getting no ass. I mean, they were ready to fight me because they were like, "Well, what makes you think you know how to get pussy?" I don't know, motherfucker. I know I can go upside your head. Yeah. I might not have been that great a person when I was younger. Anyway, it's they really don't. But the thing with the thugs is the bums, the losers, because everybody gets thrown into that. You see them. You easy to see. You easy to see their progeny. But believe it or not, most of them, if they get any money, they spend that at a strip club, and they not getting it like that. Or here's something, especially in some poor neighborhoods, many of them are fucking what in the Baltimore area we call dummies. Basically, you get about 5 or 6 thugs fucking the same woman. That's where those trains come from. A whole lot of them, whole lot of these so-called thugs. You think they get into play and stuff, but they sharing a woman. Whole lot of them, and they know it. That's why you get some of these women on some of these TV shows have no idea who the damn father is. You get a baby or something because they the neighborhood thought. Now ask yourself, if some thug is messing with a man that 15 other men have got with, is he really a player? See, that's overrated. See, that is over fucking rated. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and this ain't theory. Understand something. I'll be 52 in a few weeks, right? I don't talk theory. I don't get with that. If I have not, I will repeat this for any person, even if they want to be a detractor. I do not talk about something I haven't witnessed personally. If you ask me a question I haven't witnessed personally, I will not. I would say, look, I haven't seen that. In fact, a previous video I did, I talked about, you know, when I was talking about intelligent men and women actually getting with a man based on his intelligence. That's because I hadn't actually seen it. So, I don't. I'm talking about what I know. And if you really want to talk about the men who getting the pussy, got multiple women, spitting that hot fire, that game, whatever you want to talk. If you really look at them, one on that infamous scale, most women going to put them at best as a 7, maybe a 6, and that's very important because at that level, they got a greater range who they can deal with. It's easier for, like, say a dude is a 6. It's easier for him to go up to a 9 since beautiful women don't like being around a man who looks better than they do, and actually expect to be with a man who looks lesser than she does. And he can reach down as far as maybe a 3. That's a come up for. So he have a greater range. So it's usually those guys like average looking. They're not going to stand out. They're not going to get a modeling contract. You know, Usually 9 to 5 dudes too, and usually blue collar. I know there's a lot of stuff out there about women not messing with blue collar men, but that's really just those like 92 octane women, as the master teacher BGS would call them. Those are the ones who might, and those they will mess with a blue collar guy on the low, as long as they don't have to take him out with them. They will mess with a blue collar guy. So those blue collar guys, they actually the ones, most players in that blue collar range, because they first of all they have a greater range. They got a steady job, so they look good to the hood rats and the 80, 85 and 87 octane women. And then 89 and 92 octane women will mess with them if they think they're sexy enough. They have a steady enough job. Plus, when I say they tend to have a 9 to 5 job, they actually have time to fuck a lot of women. Because, like I said about the money men, like those professional cats, they really don't have a lot of time. But if a dude know he only has to be on a job maybe like, let's just say 40 hours a week, it's a steady job, he knows the times, he can do that. He can parcel out the time. In fact, a lot of cats fucking women on their jobs. A lot of cats finding out, you know, they giving that storage room a workout. So they're gonna be 9 to 5, decent bodies. Usually, believe it or not, most true players only have decent bodies. They're not gonna win any bodybuilding contests. You know. And it's an interesting thing. Most of them don't have that magical thing called a mouthpiece. They just smooth talkers or anything. They just really just got regular conversation. But they've the key to the real players is that they can connect to a woman sexually. That's it. And that's not always through just talking with them, but just if you can just have a regular conversation. And it's really, we need to stop making it so magical. It's like all it is you just talking with a regular person. It's like boom, and it's not necessarily some of these guys got all that swag. Some of them can be quiet. See, that's when these women talk about, well, he gotta have swag, he gotta be outgoing. Some of the biggest players I've met in life were actually like low key dudes, but to the women they were messing with, they look like they can fuck. Cause that's the bottom line with a woman. If a woman's just trying to give up some pussy, shoot, she don't need that loud dude. In fact, especially if he messing with especially if he is a blue collar type cat messing with one of these educated women who got some image to protect. She wants somebody who's going to be like quiet. She wants discreetness. She don't want somebody going to be loud about it. And see, also too, a lot of quiet. I don't care what these women say. A lot of quiet men bring a sense of mystery to them. And maybe I'll do another video on that. That's why, like, when they say swag and stuff, it's crazy. Some men are just real quiet, low key. Sometimes a woman see that and she's like, "Damn, what's up with him? He real quiet, staying to himself." And I've seen women. I've had women tell me straight up. They'll point out some real quiet dude and they be like, "Rom, I want to fuck him." I was like, "Damn, okay." Yeah, so when women talk all that smack, because the bottom line is different women have different things they want. Fellas, don't let the women talking about they want swag and all of that um, get to you. You might have just a personality to it. Which brings me to another thing about these real players. They just really just figure out who the fuck they can get with and they just maximize that. They stay in their lane. And a person to find when they stay in their lane, they don't chase women who aren't trying to chase them. They actually maximize it like now. I mean that's the greatest thing. I mentioned that in another video. If you tell a man, if a man can figure out who is naturally attracted to him, that's it. And I even know there's a woman player. She's on YouTube. I gotta check her stuff out. I haven't heard from her in a long time to make sure she all right. But she said it. She said it's like, look, you just figure out who's naturally attracted to you, and that's one thing these guys do. They don't really go out their lane. They stay in their lane. They looking at a woman. They have an innate sense like, okay, this type of woman is gonna fuck me. This type of woman isn't gonna fuck me. So I'm gonna go over here with the woman who's gonna fuck me. That's it. Those are the real players. And reason I'm even sharing this, I see too many men get caught up in thinking, well, I'm not a thug, I can't get women, or I'm not 6'4", I can't get women, or I'm too chocolate, I can't get women, or I'm too light skinned, I can't get women, or I'm this or that, or my interests are too nerdy. No, because if you look at these guys who are real players, sometimes if you mix them in with a group of other blue collar brothers, quote unquote, well, thinking black men. I don't like that L word. If you mix them in, you might not notice anything. They might be just as cool. In fact, when you talk about the thinking black man, a couple of the biggest players I've known were very intellectual, almost extremely like some Einstein level shit as far as their brain power. And they actually kind of on that low key thing. They be fucking like crazy. So I'm just sharing this just to understand. Get out of that mindset. It's Get out of that mindset that to be a player or the man getting it is a certain thing. Yeah, there's some stereotypes, and yeah, I'll even say that just because it's easier and people get it. But on the real, the guys getting the most play, getting women like crazy, got little harems. They look like you and me. You know, they got shoe. They like under 6 feet. They might have a little bit of a gut on them. In fact, I think a whole lot of them got a little bit of a gut on them. Shoot. I knew one looked like he didn't have a mirror when he dressed, but he had women lined up like crazy. But they could sexually connect to a woman, and plus they just had the mindset like they're going to get theirs. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.